The best travel rewards program in Canada has been made even better. Scotiabank comes out with some record high bonuses on their cards, and a coveted transfer bonus returns early. All this and more on Rewards Canada's This Week in Rewards for January 9th, 2026. If you're looking to make the most of your loyalty programs and credit card rewards, you've come to the right place. This is your weekly dose of loyalty, travel, and credit card happenings in Canada from Canada's original and premier points and miles resource, Rewards Canada. And even though we call it This Week in Rewards, it's more like This Month in Rewards since we haven't had a video for almost a month now, since early December. So there's a lot to catch up on. Most of this is more recent. I'm not going to cover too much from early December, just the more pertinent things. And in case you don't know, I'm Patrick, I'm your host, and we're going to kick things off with credit cards. So the big news in credit cards, I mean, there's quite a bit actually over the past month, but the really big news that has points and miles enthusiasts brimming with joy is news from American Express that they have increased the conversion rate between American Express membership rewards and Air France-KLM Flying Blue. Yeah, so it's been improved 1-to-1 now. Yeah, so this is something I have been asking Amex membership rewards, my contacts there, my colleagues there for quite a while now, ever since, this option to convert to Flying Blue launched in August 2021. So it hasn't been that long, but I guess, 3 or so years, been saying, we need to get 1-to-1, we need to do it, and it's happened. They finally did it. So kudos to the American Express membership rewards team for getting this set up and doing this. It's such a valuable transfer option. I mean, it was valuable even at its old rate of 1 to 0.75 miles, and now it's become even better, which is just great. I love it, and so many people, I don't think I've heard one negative thing about this. How can you say anything negative about it? Because it's an improvement. And in case you're not that familiar with Air France-KLM Flying Blue, it is one of the better loyalty programs in the world. It actually gets ranked number 1 by Point.me out of the States when they do their annual rankings. We rank it as the best program for transatlantic travel out of Canada for Canadians. It is such another powerhouse, kind of like Aeroplan, and it's kind of a hidden gem for a lot of Canadians. If you're not in the points and miles community, a lot of people aren't aware of how good this program can be, especially given that Air France and KLM fly to most major cities in Canada. You have Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City, all receiving service from Air France KLM. And then, of course, they have SkyTeam Airlines like Korean, Delta. They're partnered with WestJet, and the list just goes on. So a very useful program for Canadians. And now it's been made better for American Express membership rewards members because you can convert 1-to-1. So what does this mean? It's a huge improvement. So let me set the stage here. So with Flying Blue, they have dynamic pricing. So if you're familiar with Air Canada Aeroplan's dynamic pricing, same thing here. Depending on how much a flight costs cash-wise, it can jump up in pricing. But they do have minimum set amounts, just like Aeroplan as well, for flights, and those start at 25,000 miles one way from any city in Canada across the Atlantic to Europe, and that also counts for North Africa. And now North Africa is Algeria and Tunisia mainly, and Morocco, I believe. Yeah, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, I believe count as North Africa, and also to Turkey as well. So they start at 25,000 one-way economy, 40,000 one-way in premium economy, and 60,000 miles in business class. Compare this to Aeroplan. Aeroplan requires 35,000, so 10,000 more as a starting point for across the Atlantic, 50,000 for premium, and 60 for business. So they're the same on business, but Aeroplan's 60 on business is only from way out east. If you're under that 4,000 miles, I believe that's the number, I don't have it right in front of me, or on their partner airlines. Otherwise, you're starting at 70,000, so it would be higher. And then British Airways Club, which is your other American Express membership rewards transfer partner at 1-to-1. I should put that out there that it's Aeroplan, British Airways, and Air France now that are all 1-to-1 conversions. So just amazing options here. So British Airways, they just had their increase to their Avios requirements, which I will talk about later in this video. I've also discussed in other videos. So you're now looking at 27,500 Avios one-way in economy, 46,750 in premium, and 88,000 Avios in business class. And that's from Eastern Canada. If you want to fly from Western Canada, which is only Vancouver, those rates are even higher. So Air France KLM has the same price across Canada. It doesn't matter if you're flying from Vancouver or Toronto or Montreal, Quebec City, you name it. They all start at those 25, 40, and 60,000 miles. So very attractive amounts for getting across the Atlantic with the program. Of course, there is one caveat with British Airways Avios, and that is that coveted award in economy class between Toronto and Dublin on Aer Lingus for 13,000 Avios one way. I'm going to discuss that more too, because I thought we had lost it, but we didn't. But again, that's coming up later in this video. And then it gets even better though with Air France KLM Flying Blue promo rewards. We've covered this many times in our videos, the Flying Blue promo rewards. This is where they give 25% off, and on very rare occasion up to 50% off reward flights. And many times they do include Canadian cities as departure points. So most of the time it is 25% off. So now you're looking at only requiring 18,750 miles in economy, premium economy for 30,000 miles, and 45,000 for business class. So round trip, you're looking at 37,500 economy, 60,000 for premium, and 90,000 for business. Compare this to most other programs like Aeroplan. You're looking 120 for business and 70,000 for economy. So you're almost doing half of that in terms of economy, and you're getting what, 25% less with Flying Blue. So, and because it's 1-to-1 now with membership rewards. So before, when it was 1 to 0.75, when you had Flying Blue promo rewards, they would equal usually sometimes the lowest Aeroplan rewards. Still sometimes would come out better too, but now when these promo rewards are on and you have this 1-to-1 conversion, they are just, it's so much better than every other program out there. So this is amazing. This is so good. I'm so happy that American Express membership rewards did this and made it 1-to-1, because it just gave so much more power to membership rewards, which is the best travel rewards program in Canada, because you get Air Canada Aeroplan, you get Air France KLM, you get British Airways, you get Marriott, you have their fixed points for travel chart, you have any travel, any time options. There is just so much that you can do with the program, and it was just made better. But not only is this boosted conversion rate good for Air France and KLM flights, it's good for their partner flights. So any SkyTeam Airlines, Delta, China Airlines, Korean Air, these are all options that you can use your Flying Blue miles on. So that's a direct kind of option to use your membership rewards points on them by converting to Flying Blue. But what is most notable for Canadians is that WestJet is a partner. WestJet's not part of SkyTeam, even though they have a lot of SkyTeam partners, so maybe they'll head to that direction eventually. I mean, there's always that kind of talk or rumors that they should be joining SkyTeam, but they haven't. But at least they're a partner of Air France KLM, and yes, you can redeem your Flying Blue miles for WestJet flights, including domestic flights within Canada. So if you want to go like Calgary to Vancouver, Toronto to Vancouver, things like that, you can use Flying Blue miles for that. Now, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into the value. I know that in times there is value in that, especially if you're converting 1-to-1, but you have to compare it to against, Amex's Any Travel Anytime or their fixed points for travel. But say, I'll put up an example on the screen. You can redeem Flying Blue miles, this is just one example, between Calgary and Tokyo on WestJet, and they required 77,000 miles. So that's only 77,000 membership rewards points and a low $112 in fees, which is pretty darn good. That same award flight using Amex's fixed points for travel requires 100,000 membership rewards points and probably has higher fees. So right there, this conversion to Flying Blue to get to WestJet to get to Tokyo is a better option. But also 77,000 membership rewards points though can get you $770 towards any travel. So I mean, if that's a cheap economy class flight to Tokyo, and $770, that's very rare to find. I mean, you're probably looking usually at least 900 or more on that same route. So, it's possible that you could get a better redemption using your points, your membership rewards points directly, like just book a flight direct with WestJet and redeem points against the charge. But that, that's something you just have to look at and compare all the options. But that is the beauty of membership rewards, is that you get all those options. You're not stuck with one. You can pick the one that gives you the most value. So again, it's just great now that you have this option to convert membership rewards points into Flying Blue miles 1-to-1. And what better way to earn membership rewards points than with the best credit card in Canada, the American Express Cobalt card, earning up to 5 points per dollar, which means you're earning up to 5 Flying Blue miles per dollar spent. Let's put this into perspective. That 25,000 miles one way, not a promo reward, their starting point for a regular award flight to Europe at 25,000 miles. Divide that by your 5 points per dollar. That's only $5,000 in spending on your Cobalt card. What credit card's going to get you across the Atlantic one way At $5,000 of spending, none will. But then if you do the promo reward, that drops down to $3,750 in spending to get that economy class flight. Like that's just stupidly good, that amount of spending on eats and drinks. And you got to remember, Amex Cobalt's 5 times points is on popular categories, eats and drinks, where people are spending a lot of money on. So it's easy to earn those points. And even with their $2,500 cap on 5 times points earning each month, in 2 months, you will have a one-way economy class flight to Europe on Air France KLM. Like, how better can you get than that? And then it's the same thing, business class, you're only looking at $9,000 in spending at 5 times points to get one of their promo rewards in business class, which is 45,000 miles. Just outstanding. So I think you get the picture here. Membership rewards, best travel rewards program made even better with the Air France KLM Flying Blue conversion rate, and it just added even more clout and power to the American Express Cobalt card. So while we're on the topic of American Express, why don't we talk about another big thing for them, which a lot of people love, and that's that coveted transfer bonus to Marriott Bonvoy. It's come back early. Normally we see it spring and fall, and we did see it last fall and last spring. They brought it out for January 1st to 31st. You can get a 30% bonus when you transfer your American Express membership rewards points to Marriott Bonvoy. So normally the transfers are 1 to 1.2. So 1 membership rewards point equals 1.2 Marriott Bonvoy points. With this transfer bonus, that gets bumped up to 1.56 Marriott Bonvoy points. So when you take this into consideration and the various multipliers you get on the Amex cards, namely the Cobalt card again, this can provide some huge value too. If you take the Amex Cobalt cards 5 times points on eats and drinks, do that conversion rate of 1.2 and add 30%, you're getting 7.8 Marriott Bonvoy points per dollar. We value Marriott Bonvoy points at a minimum of 1 cent each, so that's a 7.8% return on your spending. Which credit card is going to get you 7.8% return on your spending? None, except for the Cobalt card. The Cobalt card, you can get higher than that, of course, right? So that's a very good return. Marriott Bonvoy, again, another very strong program, very pertinent for the Canadian points and miles community, but also pertinent just for Canadians in general. Even if you're not a huge points and miles person, having Marriott in your back pocket, whether with one of the Marriott credit cards that they offer or something like converting from Cobalt, it can help you on your travels. Hotels are jumping up in price a lot, like hugely, immensely, like everything else is going up in price. But I've found that for a lot of stays, especially within Canada, the points price has not followed suit. So where hotels might be $500 or $600 a night, they're still at like 30 or 40,000 points for something like Marriott Bonvoy. So you can get some really big value. I'll put a link in the description below on how Marriott provides great value. There's even examples in there with Marriott's stay 5 nights, get 1 free. So basically you redeem for 4 nights, where there's a return of 3.25 cents per point in Marriott. So if you multiply that by the 7.8 per dollar with the conversion from Cobalt and the 30% bonus, that is a 25.35% return on your Cobalt eat and drink spending. 25%, again, just immensely huge. I know there's airline rewards where we've pushed over 30% with the Cobalt card, but even a hotel return at over 25%, amazing. So just shining more of a spotlight on how good membership rewards and their credit cards are for Canadians. But now let's go to the second best program in Canada when it comes to travel rewards. Well, they're tied for second. They're tied with Aeroplan, and that's Scotiabank and Scene Plus. They have new offers out on their credit cards with the highest ever bonus ever seen on a Scene Plus card of 100,000 Scene Plus points. So that offer is on the Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite Privilege card. So that's their new ultra premium card that they just launched earlier in 2025. So you can earn up to 100,000 Scene Plus points. That's 20,000 more than the previous bonus of 80,000 points. So this offer is broken down as 30,000 points when you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months. Then you can get an additional 45,000 points when you spend at least 20,000 in your first 6 months. And then you'll get an additional 25,000 when you make at least one eligible purchase in month 14 after getting your card. So of course you have to pay the annual fee for the second year. They're taking that, hints from Amex's own playbook, because a lot of times Amex needs, months 13 to 15 or month 14 to get the last part of the bonus. Again, 100,000 points with Scene Plus, that's worth $1,000 towards travel with them. And of course, it's any travel at any time. So you can go book travel with whomever you want. Go book with Air Canada, go book with WestJet, Expedia, book a cruise, all inclusive, you name it, and redeem your points against the charge. You get $1,000 towards it. And of course, the Infinite Privilege offers no FX fees. So a good card for outside of Canada, 3 times points on travel purchases, unlimited 3 times points on travel purchases. So it is kind of a niche ultra premium card, but a very good one as well. It did quite well in our new 2026 rankings of credit cards, which we're going to cover in a future video. And then we have a record high bonus on the Scotia Passport Visa Infinite card. So this is an award-winning card. It is the most well-rounded travel credit card in Canada. It does everything well to really well. It may not be the best in a single category, but the fact that it does everything really well makes it an excellent card. It also has a new record high bonus of up to 50,000 points. I like to say 50. It's marketed as 60,000, but whenever this card is promoted, they're always throwing in the 10,000 points that you get for spending $40,000 on the card in a year. But that's an annual benefit. That's a benefit of the card. It's actually not part of the welcome bonus. So the welcome bonus is actually 50,000 points, which is still 15,000 points higher than the previous offer. So right now, that offer is broken down as 40,000 points when you spend $2,000, so not a huge spend in your first 3 months. And then you'll get 10,000 more points if you spend at least $10,000 on the card within your first 6 months. So not too bad either in terms of 10,000 over 6 months. And you have those 50,000 points, which is worth $500 towards any travel as well. And again, this card, no effects fees, airport lounge access. Same with the Privilege card, also has airport lounge access. This one gives you 6 lounge visits. Privilege gives you 10 lounge visits. Just a lot going on for these cards. Now the next bonus in the Scotia cards, the Scene Plus cards that got increased, was on their no-fee Scene Plus Visa card. So that one is back to 10,000 Scene Plus points, which is 5,000 more than the previous offer. You earn 2,500 points by only spending $250 on the card in the first 3 months, and then you can earn 7,500 more points when you spend at least $1,000 in your first 3 months. So a very low spend, and you're getting 10,000 points, which is worth $100 towards any travel. And the last card that changed, and this one actually went down, is the Scotiabank Gold American Express card. So this one, the offer up until start of January was 50,000 points and first year free. Well, now it's 45,000 points and no longer first year free. But I do need to look into something because Scotia has multiple things on their website. On one page, it says it's first year free. On another page, it says it is not. So I'm going to try and confirm that. But in all their communications to us, we were told it is not first year free, that you have to pay the annual fee in the first year. So those 45,000 points are worth $450. It's broken down as 25,000 points when you spend at least $2,000 in the first 3 months. Earn an additional 20,000 points when you spend $7,500 within your first 12 months on the card. But then you have to subtract the annual fee of $120, and you're looking at a value of $330 towards any travel. And keeping on the topic of increased bonuses. And if it seems like I'm trying to go fast, I am trying to go somewhat fast because there's been so much to cover since it's been a month since we've had a video. So there's also now increased bonuses on CIBC credit cards, on their proprietary travel rewards and cashback cards. So those are the CIBC Aventura and Dividend cards. So the CIBC Aventura Visa Infinite and the CIBC Aventura Gold Visa card, they both have the same new increased bonus. They are both offering up to 60,000 Aventura rewards points and your first year free. So the offer is broken down as 15,000 points when you make your first purchase, 30,000 when you spend 3,000 or more in the first 4 monthly statement periods, and another 15,000 if you actually spend 5,000 in those first 4 monthly statement period. So not a huge amount of spend required to get 60,000 points, and it's first year free. So that is $600 towards travel, a minimum, because of course they have their Aventura Airline Award chart where you can get more value from them, that you could easily push that value of the 60,000 points to over $1,000 for sure. So a very attractive bonus, the fact that it's first year free, the fact that it's easy to sign up for it again if you've had it before. So definitely take a look at those Aventura offers. On the dividend cards, they've bumped those up to $300 cash back, which is 10% back on $3,000 of spending in the first 4 monthly statement periods. But then you can also earn an additional $50 on top of that if you set up one pre-authorized payment. So you can get up to $350 cash back on the Dividend Visa Infinite or the Dividend Visa Platinum card. And the last bit of big credit card news this week are the changes from Bank of Montreal to some of their cards, which includes increased welcome bonuses on some of their cards. This came out mid-December, so I'm just catching up on this. This is some of the older news that I'm catching up on. So let's look at those welcome bonuses first, and then we'll talk about the changes to the cards. So the BMO Ascend World Elite MasterCard is now offering up to 100,000 points. So that offer is broken down as 45,000 points when you spend $5,000 in the first 110 days. Another 20,000 points if you spend a minimum of $10,000 within the first 180 days. and 35,000 more points when you spend $20,000 within the first 365 days of account opening. So just as BMO's done, they have some of the highest spend requirements, but they've actually dropped this down from from the previous amount. So it's come down a bit, which is good. I think they're starting to see the light that they need to do a balance there between how much they're asking people to spend on their cards and give them more points, because of course BMO's points aren't a 100-to-1 ratio. We, as many of us know, it's 150-to-1. So whereas some programs, like say you got 100,000 points on a CIBC card, which they don't have right now, but say they did, that would be worth at least $1,000 towards travel, whereas 100,000 with BMO is only worth $666.67 towards travel. So that's something you have to be aware of with Bank of Montreal. But again, so it's nice that they've increased the bonus and dropped the spend down a little bit. Then you have the BMO Eclipse Visa Infinite card. This one's offering up to 70,000 points. It's 30,000 when you spend 4,000 in the first 110 days, another 20,000 points when you spend 7,000 within 180 days, and then 20,000 more points if you spend 12,000 on the card within the first 365 days or first year. That's not too bad. Spending $1,000 on the card every month for a year to get the whole bonus, that's actually not too bad for that offer. I kind of like that one. And then the next card within the increased bonus is the BMO Eclipse Visa Infinite Privilege card. This one is now offering up to 200,000 points. So that's pretty big. That's a big bonus. But again, remember, it's not 100-to-1. Or so that's what, just over $1,300 in value. Still a big value. But this requires big spend. This one they didn't drop. It's 80,000 points when you spend $6,000 in the first 110 days. 40,000 when you spend $40,000 within the first 180 days, and then 80,000 more points if you spend $75,000 in the card in the first 365 days. So here's where you have to do some mental math or even write down math and figure out, is it worth it to earn that many points on a BMO card for spending that much when you could be spending that much across multiple cards and getting multiple bonuses? So just take that into consideration as well if you are looking at one of these BMO Bank of Montreal cards. And then the other welcome bonus offer that we saw was on their Cashback World Elite Mastercard. They've boosted that. It's now up to $480 cash back and first year free. They've gone kind of the old route, or not old route, but like an old Amex offer type route where you get an amount of cash back each month that you spend a certain amount. So they're giving you $40 cash back when you spend a minimum of $2,000 during every billing period. So you have to spend $24,000 on this card to get $480, but it has to be split apart per month. So if you miss a month of $2,000, you're not going to get the bonus that month. So at least you can still earn in other months, but still a lot of spending compared to other cashback cards. And remember, the BMO Cashback World Elite, despite a lot of resources calling it the best cashback card in Canada, it's not. It has very low monthly spending caps, $500 a month on groceries to earn 5%. They just boosted the amount that a family of four is going to spend on groceries to around $1,700 or just under $1,700 a month. So, there's cards out there that you can cover that much and earn 5 points per dollar, true 5 points per dollar, that is too, on more than $1,700 spending. Whereas this card, you're only going to earn 5%, on $500 spending, and you're earning 1% on the rest. So remember that. Take that into consideration if you've been thinking about the BMO Cashback World Elite. Their monthly spending caps keeps that card from being the better card that it should be. All right, so let's look at the changes that Bank of Montreal actually instituted on their cards as of December 15th. So the first thing is they've added a Nexus credit to two of their cards. So that BMO Ascend World Elite Mastercard, the one that we kind of consider as their best card, and the BMO Eclipse Visa Infinite Privilege card, each receive a $200 Nexus credit. And before you start cheering and getting all excited that Bank of Montreal added, a benefit that matches CIBC and other card issuers that give you Nexus credits, don't go that far. BMO was being BMO here. This credit for Nexus is only available in the first year of having the card. So I don't even know if it's available to existing cardholders. See, that's the thing. CIBC and the others, it's available to existing cardholders. They usually renew every 4 years. This one does not renew every 4 years. It's only the first year of a card. So for example, if you already have a Nexus membership and it's not coming up for renewal in the next year, that benefit's no use to you. So it's very limiting on Bank of Montreal's part. The other change to one of the cards, the BMO Eclipse Visa Infinite card, is they have a new monthly streaming credit where you can earn up to $20 in statement credits each month for streaming subscription services. The way I read it, as long as you spend $500 on your card each month, so on anything, as long as there's some streaming purchases in there, you will get the credit up to $20 per month. There's also some their terms and conditions are kind of vague. It seems like this is an ongoing benefit of the card, but some other parts of their terms and conditions make it seem like this might only be the first year as well. I don't have confirmation on that yet. Hopefully it's an every year type thing. If anybody's actually found out from Bank of Montreal what the true story is behind statement credits, whether it's a first year only or every year, do please let me know in the comments below. And then the big bad news for Bank of Montreal cards, and this has already taken place. If you've tried your BMO cards tied into Air Miles, or if you've linked to Air Miles, that as of December 31st, the Shell discount ended. So that discount of up to 7 cents per liter at Shell, that ended on December 31st. Now, we did put this in our post on December 15th. I'm still getting people emailing me though saying that they just learned that this benefit has ended. There's no word yet on what is happening with the Shell discount, if it's coming back or something else is happening, but just stay tuned. We'll see if Bank of Montreal comes out with some other benefits on their cards to make up for the loss of that Shell discount. And I'll just close out credit cards to make a quick mention that you've probably seen on the website, or if you subscribe to our newsletter, you've seen the news that we put out our top travel and top cashback rankings. I'm not going to cover them in this video, but I will put links in the description. But the reason I'm not going to cover them is because we make separate videos for those. So watch for those coming out on our YouTube channel and on our podcast just a little bit later this month. All right, so that takes us into loyalty and travel news. Not too much was happening here. Well, I shouldn't say that. There was a bit, Air Canada Aeroplan announced some new partnerships with Harbour Air, but the big loyalty news was one that we mentioned, I think it was in our last video before the break, is the British Airways devaluation, how they were changing the pricing for Avios on flights, and those went live on December 15th. December 15th was a bad day for Bank of Montreal. Well, not bad. I guess Bank of Montreal was good and bad, but British Airways was the bad news, with their changes to their Avios. We were expecting these. We gave you some examples of what London to New York would cost, and we expected that Toronto and Montreal to London would be the same, and that is the case. So with the new pricing, economy class flights on British Airways between Toronto or Montreal and London have bumped up to 55,000 Avios from 50,000. I mean, that's not too bad. It's not a huge increase, and the copay went from $200 Canadian up to $240 Canadian. So some reasonable increases, but they are still increases, so it's still a devaluation. Those numbers didn't come as a surprise, like I said, because we had the examples from British Airways for London to New York, and so we pretty much could assume that Toronto and Montreal to London would be the same, although our copay is a little bit better, because I believe the US also went up to $240, and that's US dollars, whereas ours is in Canadian dollars. So we do get a little bit better value there. But the other thing I'd post on December 15th is that we had lost the coveted 26,000 Avios or 13,000 Avios one way between Toronto and Dublin that I mentioned earlier in this video. Yeah, so with British Airways, if you're using Avios, it has bumped up to 31,000 Avios from 26,000, and that's round trip. So 15,500 one way. Taxes and fees are pretty close to what they were before. So I was kind of like glum about that one, because that's something I'd written about for well over a decade probably on Rewards Canada, is that award flight, because it is such a good option. But I missed something when I did that. I forgot to check Aer Lingus themselves. I had assumed that because British Airways is making these changes that they would be across the board even with Aer Lingus, but they are not. So the 26,000 Avios award between Toronto and Dublin still lives on, but you have to book it through Aer Lingus. So that means transferring your Avios from British Airways Club to Aer Lingus Air Club. Easily done, easy. So if you have a British Airways credit card, or you're using Amex membership rewards, or RBC Avion rewards and converting to British Airways, you can just transfer them from British Airways to Aer Lingus so that you can still get the 26,000 Avios. So it's good to know Aer Lingus did not bump up their pricing in terms of Avios, so that award still lives on. For how long, I don't know, but it's there. So you can know that that is an option, and you can still get that amazing round trip flight across the Atlantic to Dublin for that amount. 26,000. I mean, even, to be honest, 31,000 Avios with British Airways is still a really good deal. But the fact that you can get it for 26,000, even better deal. So, and again, this just goes back to the whole how American Express membership rewards is the best travel rewards program, because 26,000 Avios is 26,000 membership rewards points. That's $5,200 in spending on your Cobalt card, which is the best transatlantic option, even better than the Flying Blue, because that's $5,200 in spending a round trip not one way like 5,000 for Flying Blue. So just another thing to consider, but that is only Toronto to Dublin. It's not to other cities. I believe you might be able to find Toronto to London for 31,000 Avios, but the fees on that is going to be insane. Not worth it. That was really it for loyalty program news, but I do want to remind people that as of January 1st, all the changes to Air Canada Aeroplan kicked in. I've covered this in the previous video, so I'll link to it right here and in the description below. You can check out all those changes that are now live in the Air Canada Aeroplan program. All right, so that takes us into the bonus blast. So the bonus blast is where we take a quick look at some of the more exciting bonus miles and points offers that we've posted to the Rewards Canada website over the past week. In this case, it's been longer than a week, but I'm going with the more fresh offers that just came out. We're going to start it off with Marriott Bonvoy. We have two offers from them that are notable for stays here in Canada. The first one is the return. This one we see every year at this time is 1,500 bonus points per night for stays at select Marriott hotels in Ontario. So right now you can earn this bonus. It's per night for up to 3 nights. You can get up to 4,500 bonus points per stay in the Toronto area, Thunder Bay, Kingston. I have the list of the eligible hotels up on the screen so you can see that. This is valid for stays until March 27th. The one thing you'll want to note about the new Marriott bonus offers, or I shouldn't say new Marriott bonus offers, but when these bonus offers come out, a lot of times I would recommend, checking against the AAA CAA rate, which is cheaper, which they still are, because anybody could book those. But now Marriott has instituted a pop-up box. If you want to book a AAA CAA rate, you have to input your CAA number into that to get that rate. And they say they will check it when you check in. But I mean, so you have to have your card basically to even try and book that rate now. So this gives a little bit more value to the bonus points offers because now that discounted rate is not available to just anybody to book. You have to be able to have that CAA number to be able to book that rate. So the bonus points rate is kind of your new discounted rate. I mean, you're not getting a discount rate, but you're getting bonus points that you can use towards future stays that you're discounting. But of course, remember, you can buy CAA memberships for like as little as $30 a year with they have those, what are they called, everyday memberships, which aren't for people who have cars. It's just like for biking or just to get part of their membership. So you can get discounts at various places, including the discounts at these hotels. And sometimes the discounts are way more than $30, especially if you're staying for multiple nights. So that's something else to look into as well, is to get into one of those CAA everyday memberships. And so the other Marriott Bonvoy bonus that I'm highlighting this week is up to 8,500 bonus points at the AC Hotel Old Montreal. So this is a newer hotel, and this is still part of their grand opening celebrations where they're offering up to 8,500 points for stays here until the end of March. If you stay one night, you earn 2,500 points. You stay 2 nights, you earn 5,500 points. 3 nights gets you 8,500 points. So a pretty healthy bonus there. I mean, 3 nights, 8,500 points, that's about $85 back in points. And again, if you can't book the CAA rate, I know that this rate was the same as the best non-member rate, which was a few more dollars per night, but it was definitely, you were spending a little bit more, but you were getting more value in the points by doing so. So that's something to take into consideration too. For some of these rates, you may pay a little bit more for the bonus points, but the points themselves can be worth more than what you're paying, if that makes sense. All right, so let's get on to the next bonus. And this is for RBC Avion Visa card holders. Right now, you can get $50 cash back when you spend $200 or more at select ski resorts across Canada. So this is the new ski resort benefit on this card. They used to have that Friday friend thing where you would get 1 ticket for free when you would buy a ticket at select resorts, but it was on Fridays only. So now this is now 10 resorts. I'll put the 10 resorts up on the screen. You pick one, you load this offer to your card, and if you go spend $200 in one shot, it has to be one purchase of $200 or more, you're going to get a $50 statement credit. And this offer is available until February 28th, 2026. And the last bonus we're going to look at this week is a flight bonus. So Qatar Airways has brought back their big bonus for flying out of Canada. You can earn up to 10,000 bonus Avios and save 20% on flights out of Montreal and Toronto. Use the promo code JANBONUS, JANBONUS, to earn the bonus Avios. You have to book this offer by January 14th for travel until March 31st. I should say the bonus, the 10,000 Avios, which is 5,000 for economy, 10,000 for premium cabins like business or first. That bonus only goes till March 31st, but the 20% discount is valid for flights until December 31st. So that can be applied across the entire year for flights. And if you're not a member of Qatar Airways Privilege Club yet, they have renewed their joining bonus. It's a little bit lower this year. Last year was up to 5,000 Avios. This time they're offering up to 4,000 Avios when you join Qatar Airways Privilege Club and complete your first flight. I believe it's 2,000 for economy and 4,000 for premium cabins. Remember to always check out the bonus offer section on Rewards Canada before you book any travel, whether it's flights, hotels, car rentals, or even going shopping for groceries. We have our weekly shopping bonus offer roundup every Thursday where you can find out how to get more bonus miles and points on your grocery shopping. So yeah, definitely, be sure to check those out. Make it a habit that you do so, because so many people are missing out on extra miles and points when they are booking travel. That's leaving money on the table, because those extra miles and points will get you to your rewards a lot sooner. The bonus offer section can be found at rewardscanada.ca/bonuses.html. A quick reminder that you can find links to all the topics in today's video in the description below. And if you like today's video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you don't do so yet, hit that notification bell so you're notified when we do post new videos, share the video with friends, family, coworkers, anybody who you think can benefit from the topics that we cover, and leave us a comment below, whether it's a question, a correction on something I got wrong, or if you just want to say hi. We do our best to respond to all the comments. And that's all she wrote for this week. Be sure to check out our website, rewardscanada.ca, and or our socials on a daily basis, because there are things that we are posting that we do not cover in this video, and there are things that are short term that do not make it into our Friday newsletter. But at the very least, you should be subscribing to that newsletter, because that is your roundup of everything. If you're not able to check the website on a daily basis, the newsletter covers you. You'll have it every Friday in your inbox. And then on Saturdays, we have our Rewards Canada bonus bulletin newsletter. And that is where we summarize all of the bonus miles and points offers that are posted to the site for that week. Those are your ticket to earning more miles, more points, so that you can redeem for more rewards. Thank you everybody for tuning in this week. Have yourselves a great weekend. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.